Hello and welcome to Product Chat, where we chat about everything you are interested in related to product management. Today, we're talking about the difference between a product manager and a project manager. They sound super similar, the roles are often confused, but they actually have very different goals and purposes. So if somebody forwarded you this video, you better check yourself that you're calling them the right name. Anyway, let's get to it. Product, project, what's the difference? A project is a temporary initiative to create and launch a product. A product is something that delivers value to a customer in an ongoing way and often consists of one or multiple projects. Let's look at this in the context of an example. Jim and Daniela work together in a large organization. Jim is a project manager, while Daniela is a product manager. Their company has decided to launch a chatbot to help the customer care team resolve customer issues more quickly. The product is a chatbot and the need that the chatbot solves, which is to provide quick and cost-efficient support to customers. The project is the initiative to build and launch the chatbot. The project will end once the chatbot has launched, and the product is ongoing. As the project manager, Jim is looking at the resources, budget, schedule, and overall plan for the project. He helps to coordinate the many stakeholders and deliverables and align them on a plan and process. In order for Jim to be successful, the project should be delivered on time, on scope, and on budget. That is the main way that project success is measured. Danielle, our product manager, on the other hand, should understand what need the chatbot solves for the customer and for the business. She will write requirements to fit those needs. For example, how does a customer find the chatbot? What kind of questions can it answer? If it can't answer a customer question, at what point would the customer be transferred to a phone agent? Danielle also helps determine how the success of the chatbot would be measured. For example, by cost savings to the company, time to issue resolution for the customer, or something else. As Daniela, the product manager, defines the product and its requirements, that will in turn define the scope of what they are building. She can then work with engineers to understand the estimated effort for certain features to get built. Jim can take the scope and estimated effort to begin creating a schedule and cost of labor for the project. He will need to balance carefully between scope, schedule, and budget, which are all highly interdependent. Let's imagine they have now built a prototype and are beginning to test it in beta. Daniela, the product manager, collects customer input around what their experience with the chatbot is like. Unfortunately, customers are saying that it's a really terrible experience and it's super hard to use. Uh-oh, Daniela, time to get your head in the game. The chatbot is not meeting Daniela's goals for both time to issue resolution and customer satisfaction, so she will need to make a quick pivot in order to make sure that those needs are met and the customer experience is at a level that they can continue to launch. Daniela will need to work closely with Jim in this process. A change in the requirements means a change in the scope, budget, and schedule for this project, and a risk for the on-time delivery of the chatbot in November. Now, Jim is a little stressed out. Daniela will need to explain the reason for this change, and they will work together to create a new plan. Then, Jim will communicate out the risk mitigation strategy and adjusted plan out to the team. Luckily, they were able to handle this by adjusting scope. Daniela cut a less necessary feature out of the product requirements in order to make time for the necessary fixes. They will now ship a much more usable chatbot in time for November. That is the story of Jim and Daniela. Transparency, trust, and a solid understanding of each other's role is critical for the product and project managers. They overlap in a number of areas, but when working well together, they form a dynamic duo that empowers everyone on the team and creates enormous leverage for successful outcomes. All right, now it's time for the caveats. I've just given you the core components of the product and project roles. However, it actually varies a lot depending which company you look at. For example, if you think about what I just described as a project manager, at Sonos, that's actually called a program manager. However, if you go to Microsoft, a program manager is more similar to what I described as a product manager. So the moral of the story is make sure you look at the job description and not just the role to understand what it consists of. You individually need to also understand, are you more interested in ensuring that stakeholders are working together for on-time, on-schedule, and on-scope delivery? Or are you more interested in usability and feasibility, working with engineers and UX designers to define requirements? That way you can navigate based on your own interests and all the confusing roles and role descriptions that are out there. Also, sometimes companies make different choices depending on what kind of structure that they want. For example, a medium or smaller company may opt not to have any project managers, and instead the product manager will pick up a lot of those coordination tasks. At a very tiny company, you might actually not have a product manager either. Instead, the CEO will work directly with the engineers to communicate requirements and needs. Alright, that's it, y'all. Hope that helped you understand the core differences between a product manager and a project manager. Let me know down below if that matches what you've seen at past companies and what other crazy variations that folks have come up with. Also, stay tuned for next week's video and subscribe to see a more personal look at a day in the life with me as a PM. See you next week!